Agatha Harkness is out, everyone. Are we excited?
Whoa.
It's there. We've experienced the first episode. I know there's 2 that got released. I couldn't bring myself to watch 2 episodes.
Oh, me and Friggy watched both of them.
Oh, did you? Oh, you can educate me then.
God.
Oh, you should have. You know what? You should have seen the second one for the show because there's a song part that used. Yeah,
there is a song in it, and it's really, really cringy.
It was more.
Oh no!
It's a 5-minute song. Oh.
I mean, I was seeing people in chat talking about this, saying like they've been watching episode 1 and they were liking it so far. They liked the vibes of the fake pop show. Like, I'm not sure what to draw from that, but some people are easily duped, I suppose. Sure. No, I find episode 1 just an absolute chore to get through. I'm done with the whole like, oh, it's a full TV show and like, all right, what's real and what isn't? Like, what is this crazy reality that she's trapped inside? Of course, we know exactly what her deal is. We've seen WandaVision.
Everything you get from her in the first episode's first portion is flushed away.
Yes, and also it's like, but why are you building a mystery when everybody who's watching the show knows that she's not a detective? Like, everybody knows it isn't real. The whole thing came across to me as, it felt like a cynical attempt to essentially try and recapture what people pointed to liking in WandaVision of, like, the sort of parody homage to certain things in television. But, like, this one was stylistically, like, devoid of anything, right? It didn't, like the opening title sequence, right, where they had the character names and everything. Like, I watched that and I was like, I bet you people think this is cool, but what was it? They just went out and shot like, oh, we'll just shoot the ground and then we'll shoot like a little water tower and then we'll come up with some stupid name for it as a TV show. Ah, yeah, this is really clever and cool, but it's not. It's crap and pointless.
No,
and like, sorry.
No, it should have been played straight. This detective show should have gone on for 2, possibly 3 episodes, in my opinion. They should have played it straight, and they should have. Well, I think Catherine Hahn also should have been told, Catherine, stop overacting. Stop over. Just act like a normal human being, and really kind of like centralize it as a mystery, because you could have done something genuinely clever with this, in as much as made them start to investigate the mystery of the body that was discovered, the body that was going to turn out to be Wanda Maximoff. This body would intrinsically link to pulling Agatha out of this spell. But nothing made any sense, because from the very start, you had the most ridiculous exposition. The very first lines that are dumped is this crazy exposition, just like, what? And then they go off into the wood, and they talk about the dead body and finding the dead body, and this is this. And then she turns and says, but is the body dead?
So with a lot of this stuff, what they're doing is like they're riffing on like the tropes of the crime genre, especially Scandinavian crime. So like I get the clumsy attempt that they were making to just make fun of that with, as you say, the really obvious exposition about this character being a maverick detective who got suspended and brought back because she's the only one who can solve the case. It's all cliche stuff, and it's like, okay, fine, but it's so ham-fisted and so obvious that they're playing up for laughs that it's like you can't even buy into this reality that they're presenting to you for a second. Whereas with WandaVision, they sort of made it work because, you know, family sitcoms from the 50s and 60s were super exaggerated and you didn't really know what was going on. But you do exactly know who this character is. You know why she's here. You know this is not the reality that she's actually living in. It's all fake. What do you even do with it? So it tries to straddle this weird middle ground where nothing really works. It doesn't work as an actual dramatic cop show where they're investigating something and she has to almost like solve the riddle to get herself out of this fake reality, because it all just gets erased anyway. She just kind of, she gets told by Aubrey Plaza's character, like, yeah, this isn't real, just get out of it. And so she just kind of rips off her disguise and there she is, she's back.
But she does that
was fucking easy.
The very first conversation they have. Yeah. Aubrey Plaza comes in. She tells her chief of police to eat her ass, and he just like, and then walks off. Just like, what? And then Aubrey Plaza's just like, oh, is this what you're pretending to be? Is this what you envisage? You know?
Yeah.
She's just telling her. Everyone just kept telling her, and the way that she just picked the brooch up immediately. She didn't even approach the brooch as if it was any kind of evidence. And then the very next scene, because she is going to approach the body as evidence, she's got the gloves on now. So they didn't even attempt to do anything as if there was a legitimate mystery to be solved. Then they go to the house. She's in the house. Oh, look, this is my kid's bedroom. Is my kid dead? Is my kid been taken away by the father? Who is the kid? Doesn't matter. Because you're out the fucking show now. You're out the show already. And it's like nothing mysteries. Nothing at all. And it should have been something that could have been played very interestingly, because with WandaVision, we didn't know what was going on. Like, why is she in these different shows? Why is she gone? 1 week she's in that show. Wait a minute. Now next week it's like a decade later, but in a similar sort of theme show. What is actually going on here? There's a mystery there that was interesting for the first few episodes until it came out. The mystery. Then it absolutely fell apart. And this one, we know that he should have reversed it because we now know the mystery. And it should have been Catherine Hahn's Agatha that knows nothing. So she's got to play it straight. Everyone has got to be really earnest. And then the mystery is there is one of them. There is one of those people, or maybe a couple, and they're the ones who are linking. They're the ones that are in on what's going on with her and viewing what they're going on with her. Because the Aubrey Plaza bit ultimately made no sense. No sense at all, because Aubrey, if she wanted to take her out, could have taken her out at any time.
Exactly.
Well, apparently she's not allowed to. Like, I don't know if episode 2 fleshes this out a little bit.
You tell me, because that's all over the fucking place. That
at the end of this episode, it's like, I can hurt you, but I can't kill you for some reason.
But then
she burst into the house though to try and get her. Like, and then she's like, "Oh wait, I can't." I can't and I won't.
So, like, what's the point in holding a knife at her throat if you can't actually hurt her?
They needed an action scene for the first episode. That's why. It's the same reason that it's because Ad's talking about the idea of, well, imagine if you expanded it out for longer. It's like, that was probably never entertained. It was only ever going to be for the one episode so that they could then have that as a gimmick, be done with it, and then move on to the show in earnest, which is basically what the second episode is. And it's funny, Drinker pointed out before, like, oh yeah, you know, kind of parodying the over-the-top exposition. The exposition in episode 2 is like remarkable. Every time that they meet their they're gathering their group to go on their little adventure, and every time they meet them, Agatha will just be like, hey, I'm just going to describe aspects of you and your problems and like your history in the most clunky way possible.
Don't you love to when Az and Drinker keep saying Aubrey Plaza? What's her character's name?
Aubrey Plaza.
Exactly. It's like,
I mean, yeah, like as people are pointing out in chat, she kind of just tends to play the same character in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, God, you remember Game of Thrones, different TV shows. You remember every single character, and in the MCU, every single character. And now we just know it's, like Az said, Aubrey Plaza. Who is she?
Yep.
I've no idea. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you another character's name in the show.
It's funny, like as you know, when you mentioned as well, like Catherine Hahn, like tell her not to overact. Like, is that her following direction, or does that just how she acts?
I don't know, because if that's how she's portraying the, you know, maybe she's been told just go a bit over the top, and then she's been told, oh yeah, that's great. That's a terrible direction, awful direction.
Because I mean, I'm not super familiar with her work. I can't recall her ever doing a serious dramatic role and like turning in a normal performance. It's always been comedy stuff, and like it's all very over the top, and I don't know, maybe that's all she does. I'm not sure, but like, again, I couldn't buy into this fake reality of the cop show even for a second, because she was just fucking gobbling up the scenery in every single scene that she was in.
So how does that differentiate her, that character of Agnes, from Agatha? Because at the end of WandaVision, I don't know if they watched her own fucking show.
Probably not.
She's just meant to be a sort of busybody neighbor. She's reverted her to like a busybody neighbor.
Yeah.
It's just going to be chilled out. And then the only explanation we get for this detective show by her neighbor is, well, the last 3 days you've kind of gone a bit, true detective for the last 3 days.
You got a lot of questions right at this point of like, oh, didn't all the people in the town knew that she was evil, right? Like they were all there at the end of WandaVision, and also where's Sword? Are they not keeping an eye on this? And it's like, I bet you if you ask them, it's like, oh, Sword, what's that? They're like, they don't even remember their own actions that they created.
But I don't know if this gets answered in episode 2, but the thing I was perplexed by was like, okay, these people are in on it. They know that she's like this evil witch, and she's been reverted to like a kind of fake reality where she believes that she's just a regular old neighbor, just going about her day-to-day life, and everyone lives with her. wouldn't you move the fuck out of there as quickly as possible?
Absolutely.
Because it's like, okay, she's nice for now, right? Because she's under this spell and she's been, like, her memories have been wiped. That could easily fucking be undone. I don't want to take the chance. I don't want to be within 1,000 fucking miles of this woman. Because she could just as easily, like, murder all of us if she remembers who she is.
Yeah, really.
Imagine if we had this cool little detective show. There's a legitimate mystery to be solved. They're all playing it really straight. Even Agatha. Playing it straight down the line. It goes on for 2, maybe 2.5 episodes. And at the end of that, when she comes out of it and she wakes up as Agatha, and she's literally in a desolate town because everyone's gone. Because they just all left, and now this town, which got absolutely annihilated. It makes no sense, by the way, that the residents would even live with her with what they went through with Wanda, because Wanda just tortured them. So if she woke up and she's in this desolate town, the town of Westfield or whatever it's called, and just every house is abandoned, shops abandoned, and she's literally walking around this godforsaken fucking place, just trying to attach the pieces of her memory back again, and then realizes who she is. Then you could meet her up with Aubrey Plaza's character, Aubrey Plaza, and then you got something. You got at least some sort of launching pad, but.
Yeah,
I think they wanted like Westview, WandaVision. Like it felt like they were trying to tap into WandaVision nostalgia. Honestly, like kind of like at the end where they were cycling through all of the variations, right, from all of the TV shows like 80s, 70s, 60s. That definitely felt like member berries, which is kind of funny for a show that's only like a few years old. That you would have this member berries thing of like, yeah, remember WandaVision?
But it is like, because like people have a short memory, especially for shows like this that are so forgettable ultimately, and so they do have to remind us. Like WandaVision was a thing. Remember that? Like that was the golden era of Marvel TV shows. It was going to kick off a brave new world, and
and now this is the first. I think it's the first live action project that they put under the Marvel Television brand, which they explicitly signaled was you don't have to watch it. That's why it's called Marvel Television.
Yes.
That's like the point of the brand. That's crazy that they just openly admit you don't have to see this.
Yeah,
what was the other thing? Yeah, so people were just living next door to her when she was a neighbor, like under Wanda's spell, and then recently she's been acting out this cop drama fantasy. So from their perspective, she's like marching around acting like a police detective, like walking into buildings like she owns the place, demanding information from people, trying to get into, I guess, whatever is the equivalent of the local police station, as if she's a cop there, and they're just going along with it to humor her.
I mean, yeah, the fact that this has been running for 3 years, they just tolerate the crazy witch who's under another crazy witch's spell, imagining things. None of that makes any sense.
No.
Yeah, because she asked her neighbor, how long have I been here for? He goes, 3 years. So the past 3 years you've been living next to this, this psychotic. She could snap at any time. Like,
I like as well. I don't know if this was playing up to the sort of cop or Scandinavian crime tropes, but like the bit where the warlock guy, who's like, I don't know, he's probably 20 years old or something, breaks into her house, steals something, runs away, and she gives chase to him. And like somehow a fucking middle-aged woman is able to catch up to like a guy who's like 20 and clearly like way faster than her.
16 in episode 2.
I don't know if that's a crime drama trope or if it's just a Marvel trope at this point. I don't even know. Like, it's so goofy.
She's a witch. She's magic.
There is the trope of the person who's running away getting hit by a car.
Yeah,
there is that. But she also had to negotiate her way down the house, fell down, rolled down the stairs, then had to get her bearings to run after him. And she's like 5 yards behind him when he gets hit.
Yeah. Well, it's the bit where you see her like drop down, having climbed a fence. And I just thought I would fucking love to see you try to scale that fence in real life. It would be like fucking Hot Fuzz where he just like careens into it and demolishes it.
I almost didn't consider anything we saw in that opening to be real in any way. Like all of it can just be in her head, or is it because the kid?
She captured him because she took him back to her house.
He treats it all as though it did actually happen when they're in the next episode. So that means what?
He was in her house and she gave pursuit and caught him in reality.
Yeah,
and then she was like, quote unquote, interrogating him, and he was sort of humoring it as just because they went in a police station.
No, he was tied. He was then tied up in the chair in a closet. That's the interrogation room.
So so he would have known she was absolutely fucking nuts the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just didn't say anything.
It doesn't even make sense spatially because, like, she has him cuffed and in the interrogation room at the police station. Then she's told to go home, but the police station literally is her home because it's in her house. But then she gets in her car and drives to her home.
Because no rules were established.
And then just drives around the block or something, or what?
This is why you needed this to be over 2 or 3 episodes, because no rules are established.
Yeah, well, that's why there's that painting, right? Because he's actually in her house looking at her.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm probably like, man, that's pretty clever, huh? It's like, yeah, but what about all the other things that you can't? I was going to say
nothing lines up. It's just like, okay. And again, everything she says and does in that opening sequence, it's just you throw it all away because the character you get once she wakes up, so to speak, is completely different.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a dead end. It's worthless. It's actually worthless. It doesn't tell us anything about her.
It's especially worthless as well because we've seen the trailer, and so we know what this show actually is. We know it's all about the witches, and it's all goofy and quirky, and it's got all the like flamboyant song and dance numbers and stuff. Why open it with this like gritty cop drama shit when we know it's not going to go anywhere?
Exactly.
When everybody knows it's bullshit. Everybody knows it's fake. They all know who this character is. So yeah, why bother? It's actually just a waste of time. It's just a total waste of time until the story actually begins.
So that's why you have a mystery as to who knows what's going on and who's potentially the odd one out. That's why you create a little bit of the story. But they didn't. They wanted to rush through it to get her out, to be Agatha again, so they could get on with the proper story, as you said. So ultimately, episode 1 is a fucking waste of everyone's time.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like,
so what did we get out of episode 2? Like, maybe you guys clue me in. What happens?
So episode 2 is basically them assembling their little group so that they can walk the witch's road so that she can get her powers, which seems to be like the big pitch for the whole series. So basically she just goes to a bunch of places to meet witches, all of whom have like some problem that she declares in really clunky exposition. And then they all like team up, and then they go there at the end. That's basically the gist of it.